In a world drowning in noise, where truth is often buried beneath layers of propaganda and misinformation, there's a need for a different kind of a network. A network of creators that cuts through the clutter, that doesn't shy away from tough topics, and that delivers the unfiltered truth. We are Trim Radio Network. We are creators, we are innovators, we are investigators. We're the ones who aren't afraid to call a spade a spade. If you're ready to participate in thought-provoking discussions, informational topics, and of course today's biggest headlines, subscribe to our YouTube channel today. We're Trim Radio Network. We're cutting the bull and serving the truth.
Take the red pill, take the blue pill, take the red pill, take the blue pill. Take the red pill, take the blue pill, take the red pill, take the blue pill. Take the red pill, take the blue pill, take the red pill, take the blue pill. You take the red pill, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill, the story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill, 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 take the red. You stay in Wonderland. You stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
Now, from the northeast quadrant of the United States, it's the Red Pill Reality Show with your host, Riscalla. Saturday nights from 9 p.m. Eastern until midnight on the Trim Radio Network. You can join the conversation in any of our chat rooms. And now, without further ado, your host, Riscalla.
Well, hello and welcome, everyone. Let's see what's happened to the camera here. Yeah, this is amazing. Every time I do this when we do a dry run, there we go. Hot dog. It's a miracle, I tell you. All right. Well, tonight, I almost did not dare share tonight, I got to tell you. Just from sitting here today and researching the latest and greatest what's going on, I think I pinched a nerve in my back or something. Oh, my gosh, I was in so much pain earlier. I could hardly sit still. I put a heating pad on and I'm feeling a little better, so I'm going to try to work my way through tonight. Not happy about what's going on. I think most of you who have been listening to me know that in general, I'm mixed about what's happening overall with our administration. I got more and more information that I think most people will realize that this is a proxy war. We're doing this for Israel. Not happy about that. And, people say, well, Iran was sponsoring terrorism, had an assassination plot against Trump, and blah, 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 blah. I got to take it with a grain of salt, guys. How many times have they lied to us? I'm not saying, listen, I'm not sticking up for Iran. I'm not saying Iran is some innocent. I'm just saying, how many times have they lied to us? So when are we supposed to start believing that, oh, well, they have nuclear weapons. Oh, well, they want to annihilate Israel. Well, of course they want to annihilate Israel. Why? Because they've watched what Israel have done to the Palestinians for the last since 1948, whatever number that is. Now it's being done before the world, and the world is beginning to stand up and go, wait a minute, this isn't right. This isn't self-defense. This is genocide. And it's being recognized as what it is. It is genocide. So let's see, where are we going to get started here? Let's try this one first.
So I'm outside the Capitol building, and I need you to know something. Do not scroll. If you're a leftist, if you're a conservative, it doesn't fucking matter. My name is Hunter Howell. And I would never do anything to harm myself. I just need to tell you the truth. In case something bad happens to me, I'm a person on the right side, the Republican side, so to speak. But you could consider me based because the United States is occupied by Israel politically. Now, obviously, Gaza and Palestine are occupied physically, and it's a lot worse for the people over there. But that will come to us too. Mark my words, this app has already been bought by Larry Ellison. They just bought CBS as well. And we don't have a lot of time to unite, which is why you need to get this video out and start loving your neighbors. Start coming together, red and blue, purple revolution, right? Because pretty soon there won't be many people on this app like me that are able to criticize Israel, okay? We're next. And if we don't make a stand now, together, united, strong, in numbers, then we're cooked. But I believe that we can fight back and win. Let me know your thoughts. Send them love.
Speaking of cooking, we can go halfway around the world, kidnap a leader, kidnap a president of a country, bring him back, go around the other half of the world, kill their leader within a very short span of time. We did this. I mean, probably, I think the Venezuela thing was within 24 hours. I'm fairly certain of that. Khomeini thing, have we hit 24 hours yet? And here's my issue with all of that. A short while ago, the government decided that they were going to release some information regarding this man called Jeffrey Epstein. I've looked through, I got to tell you, I read one of them last week and I broke down. I could not imagine a young girl going through it was being described in this file. Two men holding her legs apart, bleeding at the vagina, mouth, her lips were purple. It appeared that she had been punched or hit. So we can go halfway around the world. We can kidnap a leader from another world. We can kill another leader. But we can't take care of the scum. These people are still here. These people are still doing what they're doing. I don't understand why there are literally not millions of us storming Washington and telling them we want all of the files, take your redactions and stuff them up your behind, and you can redact all the victims instead of redacting the co-conspirators and releasing the victims, which is what they just did. We have the evidence. We have the ammunition, if you will, legal ammunition to drain the swamp. We have it. It's there. It's in the files. But the president, and this is one of the things I'm not happy about at all. The president did not want to release those files completely. Marjorie Taylor Greene said in an interview that he was very upset with her. He called her. He was yelling at her. He was upset that she had signed on with Rand Paul and Tim Massey and somebody else, Burchett, I think it was. She signed on with 3 or 4 others to have these files released. And she was responding to him saying, Mr. President, there's nothing in there that implicates you. And he returned with, it will hurt my friends. What kind of friends have you got? What kind of friends are you protecting? Are you protecting the ones who literally had babies birthed so they could be no more than killed and then cooked and eaten and their blood drank? Are those the ones that you're protecting? then we're told to move on. I'm not moving on. And now we got this war in Iran going on, I guess as a distraction. Between that and, oh, well, Mr. Trump said that we're going to have Pete Hegseth release all of the information that they have on aliens. Another distraction. What about the innocent people who had their lives destroyed? And that kind of thing is not stopped. It's still happening. Why aren't we doing something about that? No, we're going to go halfway around the world and kill a leader. Whether he deserved it or not is beside the point. My point is, why can we go halfway around the world one side, halfway around the world the other side? We can't take care of what we have here. What does that say about us? He talks about Khomeini being one of the most evil people on the face of the planet. Really? What about the people that are having these children cooked and eaten? That's not evil? That's not evil enough for you? So, tonight I'm going to tell you a little bit that this gets people in trouble. What I'm going to share with you gets people in trouble. What I'm going to share with you, I believe, was one of the reasons that Charlie Kirk was killed, if he was killed at all. I don't even know if he was really killed. I see videos of this, quote, shooting and behind the scenes, and there is a chair that literally goes through a table. You got to go look at these videos and inspect them carefully. Use discernment. And then I'm looking at the same, a video a little bit longer down, in time, and these two men are down there kneeling down. It looks like one of them is smiling. No blood. There's no blood anywhere. Now, if you've ever been around somebody who's been shot, blood is everywhere. Everywhere. And these two men are handling this man, trying to help him. That's what they're showing anyway. And there's no blood on them. There's no blood on their shirts. They're carrying him away into a car. There's no blood trail. This guy was shot in the neck. That's what they say. And if you saw the video, the blood's coming out like a hose, like somebody stuck a hose in him. Shh. There's no blood. I don't know. Maybe he's dead. Maybe he's not dead. I don't know. All I know is we're running from one chaos to another chaos to another chaos, one distraction to another distraction. And we're told to move on with regard to the Epstein files, because it's going to hurt his friends. All right. Listen carefully.
So I'm outside the Capitol building.
Wrong one.
So who is giving the orders for all the GHF operations?
I was told very explicitly, directly to my face, that our client is the IDF.
Your client is the IDF.
Our client is the IDF. And this came out in a discussion once where I was in the control room. I was on control room duty that day. We had shifted responsibilities on a rotational base. So I was in there that day with the radio observing site number 2 distribution. A Palestinian man had picked up some children to let them step on his shoulders to get onto a berm because they were being crushed in the crowd. Site 2 is very small, smallest of all 4 sites. And these children are being crushed, and picked them up there and put them up on the berm. And the Israeli Defense Forces liaison officer in the main control center with us comes up to the screen that I'm watching, and he says, "Tell your men to get them down." I was like, "We got this under control." I was like, "I know they know what they're doing. No, they're children. Let's calm down.
Mm-hmm.
Get them down now, or I will." Well, there's no IDF on the site, so I didn't take it much more than just being, bombastic and like, okay, like, hey, we got this. He leaves and goes to his desk in the operations center, and he gets on the radio and he speaks something on the radio. It was in Hebrew. I don't speak Hebrew. One of the contractors that was there was American that did speak Hebrew, and he notifies me. He said, "Hey, he just told the snipers at the IDF position, because the site number 2 is co-located with an Israeli base. He said, he just told the snipers to take these kids out. I was like, on the radio? He's like, yeah. This lieutenant colonel then comes back up and he says, get them down. And I look at him and I say, did you just call on the radio and tell your men to shoot them? He said, I'm going to take care of this if you don't. I said, you are not going to shoot. You are not going to shoot children. You're also not going to shoot because if your men miss, you're going to hit others. You're not going to shoot. Thank God we didn't come to the conclusion of figuring out whether he would or not, because the children jumped down and ran off of the site. They didn't want to be there. They were unarmed. They didn't have shoes. One wasn't even wearing a shirt. They were starving. The chief operations officer for Safe Reach Solutions, our higher headquarters, so to speak, in the contract, beckoned me outside with him, and he looked at me in the face and he said, never say no to the client. And I asked him, I was like, I didn't know the client was in there. Who's here? Did Johnny Moore come to visit? Right. And he said, no, the IDF. I was like, the IDF are our client? He said, yes, we work for them.
Coming directly from the horse. I'm telling you, people have gotten in a lot of trouble for what I'm showing you tonight. Think about this for a minute. You can criticize any country on the face of the planet but one. Did you know that there are actually laws on the book of the United States that if you criticize or threaten Israel, you could be punished? The only country on the face of the planet that we're not allowed to criticize. And the problem is so deep. I've always wondered why. No, that's not true. Not always wondered, but I've wondered, particularly since 2001. A lot of questions have come up in my mind. One of those was, why are we so loyal to this country? Well, being as someone who identifies with Christians, I don't really like to use the term Christian for myself because so many bad things have been done as Christians. I'd rather think of myself as a student of Christ or a follower. But I've learned a lot since then. And I've always wondered why, and China too. China got favorite something, or the favorite nation. It's supposed to be our enemy. But I've always wondered, why does Israel get such deep loyalty from us? And then somebody said, well, the Bible says those who bless Israel will be blessed, or something like that. I got news for you. The place that they call Israel, that's not the Israel that's in the Bible. The place that is called Israel today, or the state or the nation, I think they refer to it as the state of Israel. It's not even a country. That place was manufactured by a very evil family, along with several countries. I think that one was come to me in a minute. Darn, I can almost see it. I can't read it all. It was made by an Accord. It's I can't think of the name of the Accord. Yeah. Bankers were involved. UK was involved. America was involved. Saudi Arabia was involved. There was a motto going out after World War II. And that was after the 7 million, was it World War I? Now I'm questioning which World War. After the war that killed all of the Jews, that was reported with 7 million Jews. So they started saying, well, the people don't have a country. These people are without a country. These people need a country. This was the marketing aspect before they decided to go to Palestine. That's what it was called, Palestine. And you can argue with me until the cows come home and sing, it was Palestine. You look up older maps, you will see it. The whole thing is Palestine. So they decided to take Palestine, take the land from the people, because at one time that's where Jerusalem is, and there was a lot of Jews there. But before they did that, they had Jewish people living there. They had Christian people living there. They had Muslim people living there. But it was called Palestine. So they brought in all of these Jewish people, primarily from European nations, gave them this land, and then said, hey, go have a great life. Well, from the moment that these people moved in, they have been taking land more and more and more, to the point where there's nothing really left for the Palestinians that were there originally. And when people say what I'm saying publicly, fortunately for me, I don't have a large following. I'm not in the thousands, because if I was, I promise you, I have no doubt in my mind I would be getting phone calls or emails or maybe even a visit. They do not like people speaking down about Israel, especially when it's true, especially when you can show something is not right between the two of us. All right, I want to play. Let's do this one first. Now, mind you, this is one of our representatives.
How many people live in Iran, by the way?
I don't know the population.
At all?
No, I don't know the population.
You don't know the population of the country you seek to topple?
How many people live in Iran?
92 million.
Okay. Yeah,
How could you not know that?
I don't sit around memorizing population tables.
Well, it's kind of relevant because you're calling for the overthrow of the government.
Why is it relevant whether it's 90 million or 80 million or 100 million? Why is that relevant?
Because if you don't know anything about the country...
I didn't say I don't know anything about
Okay, what's the ethnic mix of Iran?
They are Persians and predominantly Shia. Okay, this is cute.
It's not even... You don't know anything about Iran. So
okay, I am not the Tucker Carlson expert on Iran.
You're a senator who's calling for the overthrow of the government.
You're the one who claims
anything about the country.
No, you don't know anything about the country. You're the one who claims they're not trying to murder Donald Trump. You're the
I'm
one
not saying that.
who can't figure out if it was a good idea to kill General Soleimani, and you said it was bad.
You don't believe they're trying to murder Trump.
Yes, I do.
Because you're not calling for military strikes against them in retaliation. And if you really believe that...
We're carrying out military strikes today.
You said Israel was.
Right, with our help. I said we. Israel is leading them, but we're supporting them.
Well, you're breaking news here, because the U.S. government last night denied, the National Security Council spokesman Alex Pfeiffer denied on behalf of Trump that we were acting on Israel's behalf in any offensive capacity.
No, we're not bombing them. Israel's bombing them.
You just said we were.
We are supporting
Israel.
Israel.
High stakes. You're a senator. If you're saying the United States government is at war with Iran right now, people are listening.
Okay.
He messed up. Put both feet in his mouth. We're doing it for Israel. It may be a secondary benefit for us, but the primary reason is we're doing it for Israel. Israel is the one who's pushing the buttons. Now, that was a senator. Imagine if we had, I don't know, an ambassador. An ambassador that is supposed to be representing America. He is the ambassador to Israel. Tucker had a very interesting interview with him. And the issues around it, especially after the interview happened, speaks volumes. Let me see if I can get it up. Where did you go? There's so many controls that they keep updating this platform. Let's see if we can get it this way. Yes. Okay. Listen closely. This is well, if I can get it to move. There we go.
Show up on Wednesday, fly in from Europe, again at great expense, and show up at the diplomatic terminal at Ben Gurion Airport where this interview is going to take place, which is bizarre in itself. A filthy building. The windows are so dirty in the terminal you can't see out them barely. There's like exposed drywall. The whole thing is depressing and grim. There's litter outside. Like, what is this? This is the diplomatic terminal in Israel. I thought that was very strange. Having been in a lot of diplomatic terminals, I've never seen a rattier one. We go in, and Huckabee's there. And of course, he's totally friendly, as he always is. Very, very friendly guy, and cheerful. And we sort of chat. And the whole place is filled with these guys in T-shirts, thuggish looking guys in T-shirts who are some kind of security. So we do the interview. You're about to watch it. It's very long, at 2.5 hours ish, and I try my hardest to be friendly. I think I kind of succeeded. You can judge for yourself. But I really got the sense, and again, you can decide as you watch it, that Huckabee was not able to answer any of the questions, but also not really in charge. You really got the feeling of a guy sort of trying his best to repeat the talking points, but very constrained, like unable to say certain things. Not because those things might harm the interests of the U.S. government. He was happy to attack, for example, the U.S. military and say they're more brutal than the Israeli military. Okay. But unwilling to say certain things because they might reflect poorly on the Israeli government. And you sort of thinking about this for a second, you're like, wait, you're the U.S. ambassador. You're our representative to a foreign country. Why is your red line criticism of that country? Shouldn't you be representing us? And it was very obvious he was representing the Israelis. Obvious. And again, you can judge for yourself. But anyway, so we do this interview. It was cordial. And at the end, we're set to fly out. We have a time. We have to get out. And the plane is sitting right outside. And we're ready to go. And for some reason, the Israelis still have our passports. There are 5 of us.
Well, I apologize. What happened here? I don't know why that was not getting any sound. I was getting sound on my end. Yeah, I cut the stream down. Just hang on. Gonna see if I can find another way to do it. Oh, YouTube cut me off? I didn't cut off YouTube. Oh, great. Try refreshing the page for YouTube. See if it comes back up. I'm going to see if I can find another way to play this video. I didn't realize sound was coming out of my end, so I have no way. Sometimes it's difficult to tell. This is part of the issues with this platform because we are on YouTube, we're on LinkedIn, we're on Rumble, we're on the website all at one time. Facebook usually, but Facebook has me banned until next month sometime because I put up a post that said, "You are awesome." I'm not kidding you. The post said, "You are awesome," and I got banned. Oh my gosh. Yeah, let me know if you guys, after you refresh, see if it comes back up on YouTube. I don't know. It's showing. It says live on YouTube. In the meantime, I'm going to play another, if I can find it. I'm playing another short video and see if I can play that Tucker video with sound. I didn't realize it was doing that. Okay. All right, here we go.
They did it. I have had long conversations over the past 2 weeks with contacts at the Army War College, at Headquarters Marine Corps, and I've made it absolutely clear in both cases that it is 100% certain that 9/11 was a Mossad operation. And what I showed them immediately afterwards, the third building at the World Trade Center going down, WBC-7. And they look at that, and I said, now you understand that if one of the buildings was wired for demolition, all of them were wired for demolition. And what Americans need to understand, they did it. They did it. And if they do understand that, Israel will flat-ass disappear from this earth. 9/11 has led directly to 60,000 Americans dead and wounded. God knows how many hundreds of thousands of people in other countries that we've killed or wounded or made homeless. If Americans ever know that Israel did this, they're going to scrub them off the earth, and they're not going to give a rat's ass what the cost is. They are not going to care. They will do it. The Zionists are playing this as truly an all-or-nothing exercise, because if they lose this one, if the American people ever realize what's happened, they're done. It'll be a bloody, brutal war, and they're gone. I mean, it's not even going to be a close contest. 3 buildings went down. The third was not hit by a plane. It was wired for controlled demolition. Therefore, all of them were wired for controlled demolition. You know, what I have done when I presented it to these people, and I said, just look at this. Look at this picture. You know, I'm not going to give you an argument. Just look at it. And they look at the film, and without exception, they come back and they say, they did it, didn't they? I said, yep, they did. They did 9/11.
It's funny that we got booted off of YouTube. They'll probably boot that the archive. They're real picky. Like I said earlier, if I had a large following, they would have probably just completely shut me down for what I said so far. I believe that people have actually died for presenting things like this. Just showing you evidence. All right, let me see if we can get the Tucker Carlson thing to work. Let's try that again. Hello. Something. Let's bring it back up here. Okay. Now.
And show up at the diplomatic terminal at Ben Gurion Airport where this interview is going to take place.
Are we getting sound?
Bizarre in itself. A filthy building. The windows are so dirty in the terminal you can't see out them barely. There's like exposed drywall. The whole thing is depressing and grim. There's litter outside. Like, what is this? This is the diplomatic terminal in Israel. I thought that was very strange. Having been in a lot of diplomatic terminals, I've never seen a rattier one. We go in, and Huckabee's there, and of course he's totally friendly, as he always is. Very, very friendly guy, and cheerful, and we
Wow. Okay. Well, obviously, that's not working, huh? That should tell you something. Oh, my. Wow. Hey, Peter. I see Peter's in the house. Hey, Peter. You want me to send you a link, Peter? You can join me? Let me know. I'm trying to find this other one. Okay, so obviously they don't like me showing that one, or for whatever. That may not be a fair statement. If for whatever reason, that one's not working. You did get to see where our senator. That was. All right, they'll have a little a harder time. This should go through okay. I'll get ready to do. This is another one. Come on, here we go. All right, so I mentioned 9/11 earlier, right? That there was evidence that Israel was involved in 9/11. Well, there's another thing that is documented. This is not theory now. This is not a theory conspiracy, any of that stuff. This is for real, and it's the USS Liberty. The USS Liberty was a intelligence gathering ship during the Egyptian-Israeli War, 67 or 68, somewhere in there. And what happened was, as they were doing their job, just listening to what was going on and helping Israel, I'm sure, in whatever way Israel needed, they got attacked. Not only did they get attacked, as they were clearly marked as an American ship, peace ship. It's not. They're not armed to fight. They're intelligence. They came to find out that they were attacked by Israel. Oh, and it gets really dirty. Really dirty. We'll start here. This is a short one.
It's like an incredible wind.
And everything immediately went black.
I was gurgling a mixture of water, seawater, and oil.
And everybody else in that space was killed.
34 men killed, 174 men wounded.
There was blood everywhere.
And Congress just looked the other way.
Get the full story at justiceforliberty.org.
Johnson got on the phone immediately to the skippers on the ships, said, return those GD aircraft back to your bases now. I could care less about a few dead sailors. I will not embarrass my ally Israel. Now, how did he know Israel was attacking us when we didn't?
You said Johnson said this?
Yes.
Lyndon
Baines Johnson.
The President of the United
President
States.
of the United States. How did he know he was attacking us when we didn't?
My name's Commander David Lewis. In 1967, I was the research officer of the research ship Liberty, HETR-5, and I was also the OIC of USN 855 that had its own direct link to National Security Agency and Naval Security Group Command.
My name is Robert Scarborough. I was a communications technician seaman aboard the USS Liberty.
My name is Harold Eugene Six. I was a communications technician, third class, worked in cryptology. I was 21 years old and was born and raised in Wyoming and joined the Navy in California.
My name is Donald Wayne Pogler. I grew up in Wamego, Kansas. I live in Westminster, California. I was 21 when I was on the Liberty.
My name is Terry L. McFarland. My rank on the USS Liberty was an E4. My rating was a CTR-3 at the time.
Well, my name was Ronald Kukal. I was 28 years old when I was aboard the ship. I was in charge of the T branches.
My name is Bryce Lockwood. I am from the southern tier of New York. I was in the United States Marine Corps, signed on temporary duty aboard the USS Liberty.
My name is Ernest Gallo. I was a communication technician, maintenance, second class petty officer.
My name is Larry Thorne. I'm 21 years old. On board the USS Liberty, I'm from Staples, Minnesota.
My name is Philip F. Turney. I was a third class ship fitter aboard the USS Liberty, June 8, 1967.
My name is Larry Lloyd Bowen. My rank is CTR-2, that's Communications Technician Radioman Second Class.
My name is Mo Schaefer. I was 20 years old when I was on the USS Liberty, and I'm from Buchanan, West Virginia.
William LeMay, electrician's mate second class. I boarded this ship in 1966 until the attack in 1967.
My name is Jack Beatty. I'm from Fraser, Michigan. I was 18 years old when I showed up for the Liberty, USS Liberty.
So what happened was, as they were gathering intelligence, research, they call it, they were attacked. They were attacked repeatedly by jets. They weren't able to identify the jets at the time of the attack. And the first thing these jets took out was their ability to communicate. They pretty much shot their communications down. They had one antenna up for a small amount of time. They were sending out help, help, help. They repeatedly attacked the ship, attempting to sink the ship, but to no avail. The aircraft failed, so they sent their Navy out. Now, one of the worst wartime crimes that I've read about that has been documented. They sent their Navy out after the USS Liberty. Israel sent their Navy out after the USS Liberty. They knew exactly who they were attacking. There was a flag that was flying prior to the attack that was clear view that it was an American ship. They sent their Navy out. As this ship began to sink, and some of the sailors, from what I recall of the story, I believe jumped overboard, they began to open fire on those people. That's a war crime. There's no threat to them at this point. These people are fighting for their lives. They're not fighting them. They're fighting the circumstances around them for their lives. And they opened fire on them. When they got back, as you could hear from one of the testimonies, President Johnson swept it under the rug and made them sign non-disclosures. I'm sure they've expired, and that's why they're able to give testimony now, and he's not around anymore. Israel did that to our ship. They're not our friends. Now, why am I doing this tonight so much on Israel? I've spent other times on Israel, but not as much as tonight. I believe that the war that we just started was on behalf of Israel. There's a lot of indicators that would say, no, Riscalla, you're wrong. And there's a lot of people who believe that I'm wrong. Let's see if I can bring this up. This may be, I may have to read it, but let's see. Yeah, that's not going to work. I don't think anybody's going to be able to see that. All right, well, what happened was I was responding to a post on Facebook, and it says U.S. bombs Iran. And my response was, I thought Trump was the president of peace, ? I did not, capital letters, vote for another meaningless war that only benefits Israel. That's how I spelled it. It's sad to watch our country be pushed into a war that I think the majority of Americans do not want. If Israel is so bent on taking out Iran, then let them do it. Why do we have to shed our blood for them? ? I would remind people, if you don't know about the USS Liberty, find out, capital letters. Then you will know they are not, capital letters, our friend. So this is one of the responses I get. Thank you for sharing your opinion. No one wants a meaningless war, but, ... Iran has long threatened to annihilate the United States, a resident of which I presume is you. Iran is intent on obtaining nuclear weapons and has promised to use them against the great Satan. Iran's radical Islamic leadership has often expressed its belief in the prophecy of the 12th Imam. If you don't know about it, find out, capital letters. When someone threatens to annihilate you, dismissing their threat is a perilous, if not deadly, mistake. I voted for someone who wouldn't make that mistake. Then another one said, the result of taking out this evil regime is peace, capital letters. Now, I'm not going to argue that they don't have points, because they do have points. I mean, they clearly, Iran has said, death to America, death to Israel. I've heard it myself. I've seen the videos. Nobody's asking why. Why would they do that? Oh, well, because they're Islamists, Riscalla. They're crazy. Everybody who is not a Muslim has got to die, or, something along that line. See, I'm old enough to remember that Iran at one time was very westernized, very west. The women could wear bikinis, westernized, okay? They loved us. The person who was in power at the time was the Shah. Something happened between the Shah and America, because they took him out. They put him in. They took him out. And when they took him out, they left a vacuum, and the vacuum was filled by this man, this Ayatollah Khomeini, who wasn't even in Iran at the time. I think he was in Britain or somewhere. He wasn't in that country. He was somewhere else. So what's happened in Iran, kind of, sort of, in a way, is our fault. You think about all the money. Pallets of money. Everybody remember that? Pallets. Well, I don't remember how much money. It was like in the billions. 7 billion or some crap. But they're the bad people, they're nasty, blah, 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 blah. Why? Why are they? Why are they so hell-bent against Israel? My opinion is they have watched what's happened in Palestine, the genocide that has taken place over many years. This is just now coming to surface. This has been going on for many years, many, many years. And they see that Israel gets its power from who? From the U.S. So they see Israel as Satan. Well, guess what? Satan's getting his power from Satan number 2. Right? So we're the head, I guess. Because nobody wants to mess with us. And now we're back in Iran again. And the president has said that he supports this because the people have, I think they've quoted, over 80% of the people wanted a regime change. Doesn't that sound familiar? 80% of the people wanted a regime change. We had 70 some odd million people here in the United States that voted for a man who was going to drain the swamp. Isn't that a regime change? I don't know. This is, look, I don't mean to disrespect the president. I'm just disappointed. I'm frustrated. I'm watching a man who gave the State of the Union attempting to convince us that everything's getting better, that that the inflation is down, and things are getting better. They're pushing this. We're making you safe. We're making America safe again. Another marketing tactic. I watched a video of an ICE agent. And this is something now, for people who get in the way of these ICE agents, if you're listening to me, do yourself a favor. You might as well go pee into the wind, okay? You're not going to stop them, and you're only going to embarrass yourself. So do yourself a favor. Don't do it. You want to stand on the side of the road with a sign, protest? God bless you. Knock yourself out. Don't get in their way. Don't block the freaking road. Don't spit on them like I've seen a few of you do. Protest with respect. They're not Nazis until I tell you this little story. They're just doing their job. Now, having said that, I think that they've got some of them who really need some training. So I saw this video. This guy has got his, he's in his car. It looks like he's in an apartment building. He's in his car and he's exiting his car and he's got his phone in his hand. And he closes the door and this ICE agent walks up to him and says something to the effect of, "I am with ICE. Let me see your identification." And the guy says, "Why?" He said, "Well, you're speaking with an accent." Now, mind you, the guy that's telling this guy that he's speaking with an accent is speaking with an accent. And before it's all over, this guy goes down on the ground, hands behind his back, and they take him in only to find out he's an American citizen. But he was speaking with an accent. Lord have mercy. So you're giving them, these people who want to get in your face and do stupid things like throw bricks at you and stuff, you're giving them ammunition to do that when you do something silly like this. There was no reason for this man to walk up to this guy parked in the parking lot and just ask for his ID out of the clear blue because he heard him speaking with an accent. That is shades of being a Nazi. That's what they did. They would walk up to anybody and say, "Let me see your papers. Where is your papers?" I hope they don't hear me say, start asking me for my papers. But that's what it was like. They just walk up to anybody they suspected that could be a Jew that wasn't wearing the star, because at the time they had to wear the star. Remember that? Maybe you don't remember that, but I do. Not that I lived through it, but in my time of growing up, it was documentary after documentary after documentary about what happened. So it was kind of embedded into us. So yeah, they had these cops going around going, "Hey, let me see your papers. If you don't have your papers, they take you in." Well, that's what happened. This guy couldn't prove he was a citizen right there on the spot, so they took him in. Once they got him in, all he had was a driver's license. Well, a driver's license doesn't mean you're a citizen. Unless you get the, I don't even, yeah, I think they have this, I can't remember what it's called. A real ID. That's what it is. Real ID. If you get a real ID, then that shows you're a citizen. This is another thing that they're doing. This one of the things I'm not happy with this administration. They have hired a corporation that is that helps the intelligence agencies how to track people. Did you notice in the Venezuela thing that they were able to go in and out so quickly without any losses? They knew exactly where he was at, what time he was there, and worked it all out. That means they're able to track people, right? Now, do you think that they're going to do that just to our enemies? I hope not, because they will do it to any of us if we present a threat to them. And the threat doesn't necessarily have to be like a violent threat, like I'm going to do this or I'm going to do that, violence kind of thing. The threat could be somebody who is an influencer who starts saying things that go against the agenda. Charlie Kirk was doing that. The last year of his life, he was coming out and saying, things going on are not adding up. This October 7th, he questioned probably the most taboo subject you could question in this day, and that is October 7th. Because the October 7th believers, and I'm not trying to lighten it up in any way, shape, or form, please. It was horrible, no matter what. It doesn't matter. What I'm trying to tell you is it's not what you were told. Because there are people who have come out, actually people from Israeli army, I think they were in, have come out and said, we were told to stand down. We were told, incorrect, Riscalla, we were told not to patrol these areas that we normally patrol where this stuff happened at a particular time. And guess what happened during that particular time? So I believe it was a false flag. Israel needed an excuse to continue the genocide that they were committing in Gaza, so they allowed this, or they were actually complicit. I don't know. I'm just saying it's possible. I am saying that something is very fishy. That security was told to not stand down. They were told they weren't told specifically to stand down. They were told, don't, just leave that area alone for now. Okay, they weren't told to stand down. And this is the reason that we are, God knows how long this is going to go on in Iran. I hope and pray that this is quick. My concern is, okay, so who's next? Because we know that Syria is in the spotlight too. Okay, so I mentioned earlier, we're able to go around halfway around the world one way, halfway around the world the other way, and we're able to knock out the king of the on the chessboard, right? Where'd you go? But we're not able to do this.
So they are purposely keeping Tina Peters in a dangerous environment. They are denying her access to a housing situation that would keep her safe. And the place is an absolute nightmare. The best that they've been able to do is throw her in solitary for weeks at a time, where she's kept awake 24/7 under fluorescent lighting. She has been sleeping on an inch thick mattress. And it wasn't until just a few months ago, after the media really decided to put pressure on officials in Colorado and what was going on inside of the Colorado Department of Corrections, including with the Civil Rights Division looking at some of the facilities and what was going on, that they decided they could find a 2-inch mattress for Tina to sleep on, despite ignoring her medical requests, despite never allowing her to see a doctor, blowing off everything. In this most recent assault on her, Steve, there were officials in La Vista that refused to even acknowledge that she was injured. She was showing them her bruises from the event because it was being spun against her as if she were the aggressor. And they did nothing. They didn't refer her to medical for an evaluation. They refused to document it. They walked away and looked the other way. So, I mean, this is the everyday situation that Tina Peters has been facing. There are other inmates in there who get written up and have their iPads or their tablets taken away simply because they yell "Free Tina Peters" across the yard, or they show some sign of solidarity, recognizing the ordeal that she has been going through. It's obscene what she's dealing with on a daily basis. Tina Peters does not belong there, and the travesty of justice that has allowed her to stay there despite meeting all state criteria for bond on appeal, despite being a first-time nonviolent offender who has an excellent chance of her charges being reversed and her sentence being overturned on appeal, including this most recent hearing that raised a plethora of extremely concerning issues that should together constitute nothing but a mistrial. Tina Peters needs to go free. She's living in absolute hell. She is a political prisoner, and she doesn't belong with these people. She is in danger every single day that she is in there. She continues to get threats in the mail. She complains about it to the prison, threats that I've seen many of them. They threaten her with murder, with violence, with rape. They wish death upon her. And these recent incidents have led to kind of a precedent to be set within the facility where you can go after Tina Peters and nothing will really happen to you.
So we can go after the leaders in other countries, halfway around the world one way, halfway around the world the other way. But Tina Peters, who has been pardoned by the president, is still in prison. See, this is the stuff that it doesn't balance out for me. It doesn't work out for me. I said early on, as soon as they mentioned that they wanted to, well, I say they, the Trump administration, Trump primarily, wanted to make Gaza a paradise. What's going to happen to the people that are there now? Has anybody got any idea what Gaza looks like? I mean, I keep talking about this. Do I have? $680,000 dead. 80% of them are children. Death toll in Gaza is at least 680,000, 380,000 are infants under 5 years of age. That was as of September 3rd of 2025. 680,000. But Israel's defending itself. I had another one. I may have. Yeah, I think I removed it. I had another one. It's horrible. There's nothing left. There is no. It's just rubble. And people are living it. Children and women and men are living in this. They have nowhere to go. But Israel's not done yet. And then Trump wants to step in and make it a paradise. What happens to the people that are there? What are you going to do with them? Push them off to another country? You think they're going to get treated very well in another country? They had their own, the whole thing with Israel is the people without a country, right? Now we have a people that are going to be without a country. What are you going to do for them? Well, they're not along, they're not within the agenda, so too bad for them. Sorry, see you, bye. Next, Syria. Syria is one of the other ones. Let's see if I got this other one. It's like I said, we can go halfway around the world one way and the other way. And we don't want to release the names of the people who are doing these horrendous things to these children. It's not right. It doesn't add up to me. Maybe I'm naive or ignorant. I don't know. But it just doesn't add up to me. I don't see how making America great again is withholding the names of those who are responsible that have done unspeakable things. I don't know how that makes us great again. I don't know how it makes America great again by continually giving money to Ukraine. We know Ukraine is corrupt. We know it's corrupt. It's not a matter of theory anymore. It's documented. They will not tell us what they're doing with the money that they've already been given billions of dollars. Billions. And they continue to give them money. Same thing with Israel. Give them money. And you know what? Now you heard that young man who was, I guess he was in the Army or the Marines, one of the two, who was at an outpost with there in Israel, and he heard the IDF commander tell the snipers to shoot the children. Oh, we're defending ourselves. Shoot the children, right? And who the boss is? He's telling you who the boss is. He didn't know, but he was told who the boss is. Not good. I can't find this other one.
Have to break out of that for just a moment here to give you this breaking news, as President Trump has just put this out on his Truth Social page, confirming that Iran's supreme leader is now dead. I'm going to take you out to that post. This is what he put on his own Truth Social a few moments ago. I'm going to read it out for you in full as well, saying this: Khamenei, one of the most evil people in history, is dead. This is not only justice for the people of Iran, but for all great Americans and those people from many countries throughout the world that have been killed or mutilated by Khamenei and his gang of bloodthirsty thugs. He was unable to avoid our intelligence and highly sophisticated tracking systems and working closely with Israel. There was not a thing he or the other leaders that had been killed along with him could do. This is the single greatest chance for the Iranian people to take back their country. We are hearing that many of their IRGC, military, and other security and police forces no longer want to fight and are looking for immunity from us. As I said last night, quote, now they have immunity, later they only get death, end quote. Hopefully the IRGC and police will peacefully merge with the Iranian patriots and work together as a unit to bring back the country to the greatness.
They did it.
Whoa, that wasn't supposed to happen. Oh my gosh. All right, well, I guess somebody doesn't like me tonight. Oh, camera. Why? Got to reset it again? Ouch. Okay. Now, I don't know why that happened. That was crazy. Right in the middle of, anyway, that was the official announcement that they have killed Khomeini. But we can't deal with the evil that we have here. This is my frustration. We have evil here and now happening. Why aren't we treating it with the priority that we're treating these, quote, evil empires that are bouncing up all around us? Now, I think that Iran and Venezuela both, somebody else, I can't remember the other one, were directly involved. Who was the other one? Switzerland? There was another country involved that was in the 2020 elections that they were, maybe it's Italy. Anyway, it was another country that was involved in the 2020, in overthrowing the 2020 election. We know the 2020 election was overthrown. There's no question about it. More and more evidence is coming up as time goes on. And they know who did it. They know who helped move the information back and forth, and Venezuela was one of them. And they believe that Iran was another one. And I'm not sure about the third. I think it's another country, maybe two more countries that, wow, that video I just played for you, that's gone. Wow, that's why it stopped. It's not even on my board anymore. That is crazy. Wow. All right. So we got some bad people here, right? We got some bad people that came in during the last administration, which I'm grateful. I thank you. You know, I was saying to one of my friends, I said, I think that what's happening is they will feed us something that they know we want, which kind of, hey, that's good, you know, dealing with the immigration, the illegal immigration, locking up the border, getting these people back out of here. I think the majority of Americans want that. I really do. I think an overwhelming majority want that. So we're happy with that part of it, right? But then under the rug it goes with the Epstein files and the refusal to release specific information that we have a right to. We pay for this. We want that information and we have a right to. And on top of all of that, if I remember correctly, somebody who ran for president said that when I'm president, I'm going to release the files. And you were fighting to release them, and people say, "Oh, he's playing 5D chess. He got because he was reluctant to release the files. He got the Democrats to want to release the files, and blah 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 blah." We're being played, people. I'm sorry, we're being played. I'm tired of it. I really am. I'm grateful. Like I said, I'm grateful that he was able to with the immigration thing. I'm grateful that he's trying to help the middle class exist again, because pretty much got wiped out. There's things that I'm grateful for, but it doesn't mean that I'm going to turn a blind eye or a deaf ear to other things that I'm not grateful for. I'm not grateful for that you want to go into Gaza and turn it into a paradise. I'd be more grateful if you take that money, however much money that's going to be, and put it back to us. With all the money that you're telling us that we're saving on these tariffs, and we still have veterans that have nowhere to sleep. They're sleeping on the street, let alone civilians that are on the street. Why can't we deal with things like that before we go out and give any more money to anybody else? Is that asking too much? Particularly giving it to people we know are scoundrels. They're criminals. It's frustrating for me. Sometimes I wish I didn't know what I know. I swear. It hurts. It hurts. Why do we pay these taxes? Do you realize with all the freaking taxes that we pay, right? So there's hardly anything you can do anymore without paying a tax. I think the next thing will probably, and I think it does happen. Now that I think about it, it's already happened. They're going to make you pay to go to the bathroom. They're thinking about everything. I heard New York wants to install, and maybe already has, some kind of a tax by mile. Your ability to go from one place to another is not just an ability, is a right to travel. You have a right to travel from point A to point B. But they're going to do their best to make sure that while you're traveling, they're in your pocket. So by the time that we get done paying the sales tax on whatever we're going to buy, the gas tax, and every time we buy gas, the real estate tax if you own real estate, the car tax if you have a car tax, it comes out to like 70% of what we make is in some kind of a tax form. And what do we get in return? We have a representation of a government could give a spit about any of us. It's pretty evident. The people who caused all the harm. Why is Tony Fauci still walking around free? Why is Bill Gates still walking around free? We have documented evidence. We have doctors who have gone on record in video testimony saying that both of those people were heavily responsible in the manufacture of the vaccines, knowing ahead of time the vaccines did not work, knowing ahead of time the vaccines damaged people, knowing ahead of time that anybody who spoke out against it would be silenced almost immediately. Why aren't they being investigated? Why are they walking around? That's just one. One example. Hillary Clinton still walking around free. Oh, but Hillary was executed, Riscalla. What freaking good did it do to execute Hillary A when we have Hillary B still doing the same crap? So no, I don't care that whoever was executed, even if they were, I don't know. Okay, all this, there is so much information coming out that is just garbage. You can't, and it's on purpose. It drowns you with all of this garbage, and you're trying to sift your way through it. The Epstein files. I had to walk away from the Epstein files. It was literally disturbing me mentally. How I can't. These people. These aren't human beings. They can't be human beings. What was described in some of these files is so horrific, beyond your worst nightmare. I don't care what horror flick you have ever seen, multiply it by 1 million. And that's what these people are doing. Cooking children, babies, eating their insides, and then saying it tastes like cream cheese. They have codes, pizza, and hot dogs. And symbols so they can talk to each other in public and you don't realize what they're talking about. These people are still walking free. The government knows who they are and they're still walking free because it would hurt my friends. Oh my. The color of the language I would like to use to describe that. I gotta bite my tongue. Just not professional. But it's disgusting. It's gone. That video's gone. It's just amazing. It was there now. So one of the things that I'm able to do on this platform that allows me to play these videos, I can play a video on my computer. That was the one with Tucker where the sound kept going on and off. I don't have as much control over the sound on that. I just have to let it go the way it goes. But anyway, or I can actually load up a short video on the platform. And that's what that video was on the platform. And now it's not there. It's freaking me out. Holy smokes. Well, so our world is really not in a good shape, people. And just generally speaking. I played this once before. Yeah, this one. This is disturbing. Oh, wait a minute. Where's the other one? I had another one. Yeah, okay. Let me play this one first. This is very short. This is so disturbing.
Scientists are now using lab-grown human flesh in order to advance AI. And I'm not exaggerating. This face behind me was made using living flesh grown in a lab. They're engineering this human tissue onto robots in order to give them a more human appearance, as well as increasing humanoid robots' mobility.
That should disturb you. Because, as I have said many times, and those who are aware of what's going on, they know that the dark side... Oh, my back. I don't know what happened with my back. They know that the dark side, part of their karma, their law, whatever you want to call it, is they got to tell you what they're going to do before they do it. And they do it in a variety of ways. They do it in movies, they do it in videos, they do it in music, a variety of ways. They do it in symbols, but they have to tell you one way or another. Now, sometimes it's right in your face, and other times it's kind of cryptic, but it's there. I want you to think about the movie Terminator.
Scientists are now using lab-grown human flesh in order to advance AI. And I'm not exaggerating. This face behind me was made using living flesh grown in a lab.
Terminator. They're going to take that flesh, they're going to put it over a stainless steel or some type of metal that is very, very resistant to corrosion, plutonium, whatever. And you're going to have yourself a replica of the Terminator. Now, they already have super soldiers, which they don't want people to know about, but they're already out there. The problem with the super soldiers is they don't have an exo skin like a human. You can tell right off the bat. What's going to happen when
scientists are now using lab-grown human flesh?
You got that. Okay, if that wasn't horrific enough, let me get down here. Women, we don't need women anymore. Oh, but without women, you can't have babies. Who told you that?
I just connected the dots. You are not going to fucking believe this. This is the craziest thing you have ever seen in your life, probably.
Turns out women's egg cells are not even needed to conceive babies anymore.
2 men could now make a baby without a woman's DNA. American scientists have created working human embryos by putting DNA from skin into a donor egg. This new egg has just 23 chromosomes from the skin cell, and that can be fertilized via IVF with the 23 chromosomes from the sperm, making a full set. The implications for the study are vast. It opens the door for anyone to have children, irrespective of the need to have your own eggs. Therefore, this new scientific method could also provide an unlimited supply of eggs for women who struggle to conceive. Scientists have been able to change DNA in cells since the 1990s, but their methods did not work for reproductive cells. A study from Oregon University has now managed this for the first time by tricking a skin cell into behaving like an egg cell. The process was replicated to make 82 embryos, but only 9% developed to the stage needed for IVF implantation. None were implanted into a human and were all destroyed in line with ethical guidelines.
We're all destroyed in line with ethical guidelines. Translation, that's not layered over beautiful elevator music and pretty graphics. 82 children, 82 babies that we call embryos, but embryo is just a stage of development. 82 genetically unique human beings that have never existed before and will never exist again were created in this study without a single woman's egg cell ever involved in the process, entirely from male DNA, which already is such a disgusting perversion of how human beings are supposed to be created, and according to ethical guidelines, were killed. Talk about ethical guidelines. Were destroyed. That's the word that they used. Intentionally.
Everyone is in the comments making this a gender issue. It's not a gender issue. Let me show you this video. The Chinese billionaires are having dozens of US-born babies via surrogate. Video game executive Zhu Bo said to have more than 100 children, and other elites build mega families testing citizenship laws and drawing on nannies, IVF, and legal firms set up to help them. Right now, this has already been uncovered. Chinese billionaires are having babies through surrogates in almost every country. So at some point, there's going to be a Chinese billionaire with a child that has a passport to almost every country in the world. That's not what this is about. Let me ask you this. How soon before these corporations start making their own workers? You don't need a woman anymore. You don't need a woman's cells at all. All you need is a fucking lab. No one is thinking this route. Maybe I'm just going crazy, but let me say this. The whole plan, they've been trying to kill us off. They've been trying to do all these things, and we've been asking, what is the end goal? This is the end goal. They kill us off, They have their own multiple children that they will have through normal means. And then the working class, that's how they're going to make them. They're going to create workers. And I can guarantee you right now, there are at least 10 firms or 10 scientists right now who are researching accelerated growth. Once they sort that out, it's over for us. Imagine a company like Walmart firing every last employee, because every single employee they are going to have is going to be birthed through that procedure and then gone through accelerated growth. In 20 years, Walmart has an entire army of employees, and Walmart fires everybody else. This is crazy. Yo, I gotta go apologize to my dad, man. This is crazy. I'm not gonna die with you fuckers. I am going to be part of that ruling class. This is insane.
Yep. There it goes again. Okay. I don't know why you're doing that. It's acting weird tonight. Now, how's that for a theory, huh? These billionaires are having hundreds of children. Hundreds. And they're telling us, you shouldn't bring any children into the world, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I love. They're flying around in their jets, right? And they're telling us, hey, you shouldn't be driving in your cars. And the cows farting are messing. It's insanity. It is. It's insanity. And we're living in it. Now back to the evil crap. We can go halfway around the world. East, halfway around the world. West, maybe north, south, who knows. Can't take care of the ones here.
Good afternoon, Jeffrey. I hope all's been well. I've got one for you that might fit the bill. A Brazilian, quite hot. So I've been told. But the best part is, she's 9 years old. Oh, and by the way, here's something fun. Babies suck harder when they hear their mom. Kindest regards, redacted name. Can't run the risk of bringing me shame. Dearest redacted, it sounds like a thrill. You know I love pizza that comes from Brazil. As for the baby, I'll have G set a meeting, so long as that baby isn't already teething. Party this Friday, lavish and wild. I'm certain you'll find the perfect child. I hope you can make it. I'll arrange your flight. First come, first serve. If you want one, that's tight. Let me know if you can make it. I'll add your name to the list with a little black box as my special gift.
And this is what the Trump administration's hiding.
I don't know. To me, that's evil. Now, for those who may not be familiar, what she was reading were emails from the Epstein files. Yeah, they make poems about this stuff. Don't tell me they're not sick. They're not people. They can't be people doing what they do. Right? How they even look at themselves in the mirror is beyond me. Infants. They purposely birth infants for no other reason than to, well, not no other reason, but to have sex with them, and then at some point kill them, at another point bake them, cook them, at another point open them up and eat their insides. If that's not enough to make you puke, but we're letting them, nothing's happening. Am I overreacting? Is it wrong to say that this is still happening, people? And Epstein is a tip of the iceberg. There's more Epsteins out there. Probably doing even, God knows if it's possible, worse than he was. If you saw the last show, I played the documentary Pizzagate. You should see some of the stuff that's in Pizzagate. The way they antagonize children, the way they get them to the point where they're so scared that adrenaline is flowing through their system, at which point they drain their blood and then drink the blood. It's called adrenochrome. You kind of tell me that's not evil? That's not evil enough for you to stop whatever the hell it is that you're doing and go after them? People trying to convince me that Iran was going to do this and Iran was going to do that. Well, Iran has been around for quite a while and they haven't done spit. I think personally, just my opinion, I may be wrong. I've been wrong about a lot of things, but my gut tells me Iran was kind of pushed up against the wall, even if they're bad. Okay, even if it were deserving somehow, they were pushed up against the corner of a wall and then they just lashed out, stupidly lashed out. But that gave everybody the excuse of, well, you might as well finish the job now. I think they lashed out at 5 or 6 other countries. So now they've given everybody ammunition. Just like I said earlier about the ICE agent, who really needs to be better trained. He's just giving them, the people who are already against you, more ammunition. There's no reason for that. There was no reason for him to walk up to this guy just because he heard him speaking with an accent, who is himself speaking with an accent. It's just crazy. The guy had a heavy, if I'm not mistaken, like a Mexican accent. The ICE agent had a very heavy Mexican accent. The guy who had the other accent sounded like, I don't know, he didn't say a whole lot. It wasn't Mexican. It wasn't, I want to try to say Hispanic. It was like Italian or something like that. It was different. It wasn't Hispanic. But it's like it's like the pot calling the kettle black, right? The guy who's telling the guy, I suspect that you're not a citizen because you're speaking with an accent. That guy's speaking with an accent. It's just crazy. And we don't need that. You got a job to do it. I'm right there, shoulder to shoulder, standing with you, making sure that people don't get in your way. But when you do something like that, you're just giving them ammunition. It was totally handled completely wrong. And, back to this thing that's happening right now. No, I haven't come through yet. So now we have, again, bombed Iran for the second time in, a couple of months? No, we knocked out all of their nuclear capabilities, Riscalla. Then why are we back to doing it again? Because Israel told us to, that's why. You'll have a hard time convincing me otherwise. I am absolutely convinced. I have heard things from Benjamin Netanyahu's mouth. He thought the mic was off and the mic was on, and it was absolutely disgusting. Disgusting. I'm going to paraphrase it. We'll bleed America and just suck her dry. Right. In the meantime, I told you earlier on, and as I started tonight, the country's in a bad way, people. We're in a bad way. Now, when I was in the service, one of the things that was embedded into me was you must obey orders from your supervisors. You have to obey your orders. You have to obey, you have to obey, you have to obey. Okay. Once they got that through our heads, they also said to us, your oath is to the Constitution. Your oath is not to any person. It's not to the captain. It's not to the colonel, to the general. It is to the Constitution. Therefore, if you are told to do something that goes directly against the Constitution, you don't have to obey that order. Furthermore, if you know that it goes against the Constitution and you continue into that order, you may be held responsible. Why am I saying this? One of the things that we have a military for is to defend us here at home. What happens if the indoctrination that has been occurring, particularly over the last 12 years or so, what happens if that indoctrination is embedded into our military? One of the things that the military is taboo, supposed to be anyway, is that it cannot be used against the citizens. Cannot use physical violence against the citizens. Keep that in mind, because where'd it go? I think we have an issue.
This message is to Mr. President Donald Trump and to every general and political appointee sitting in his military cabinet. My name is Major Retired Richard Ojeda, and I wore this nation's uniform and fought this nation's wars for 24 years. I'm speaking to you as a combat soldier who understands orders and understands lines that you do not cross. Last week, one of your senior military commanders was asked in a congressional hearing about using military force inside the United States against American citizens. And he said if an order came down to do so, he would carry out that order. On my back, I've got the names of 13 of my brothers who never returned home from war. I want you to hear me loud and clear when I say this. They did not die for this. They did not die so the President of the United States could label people who disagree with him as domestic terrorists and enemies from within. The real enemy is any person in leadership that tries to turn the weapons of war on the American citizens and calls it patriotism. So when you say the enemy is within, Mr. President, you're right. The enemy of our Constitution is sitting inside the Oval Office. I've seen war. I've picked up a rifle and manned a post. I know exactly what the enemy looks like when this nation is under attack. So when I hear what's coming out of your White House right now, I recognize it better than most because I've seen this con job before. I saw it when it was time to lace up our boots and when politicians like you needed a story strong enough to send young men and women into hell and call it service. I watched communities get wiped out over weapons of mass destruction that didn't exist. Millions of people lost their lives because our leaders were willing to put people in harm's way over a lie. I remember the faces. I remember the fear. I remember the kids. And I remember what it's like when you return home and realize it was all for nothing. I know the weight that it carries to realize that the government you once believed in, bled for, and fought for sent you into battle over a lie. But not one time, not one damn time, when I was standing in the line of fire, did I look to my left or my right and ask my brother how he voted before I decided if I would defend him. Now you're taking that same logic, the logic that collapses nations, and you're trying to turn it against Americans on American soil. You're trying to make people afraid to speak, afraid to protest, afraid to disagree with you in the name of terrorism and patriotism. And I'm not going to sit by and watch you bring home the very thing we were sent overseas to fight. One day my time on this earth will be over, and I'm going to see my brothers again. And when I do, I want to be able to look them in the eye and say, I upheld the oath. I defended the principles we bled for. And I didn't stay quiet while America turned on itself. My brothers that did not return home were not suckers and losers like you once said. They were men of honor who served this nation and upheld their oath to protect and defend the Constitution. And I carry their sacrifice with me every single day. That's why today I'm calling on every military veteran, active duty service member, Guard, Reserve, Commander, and Gold Star family across this nation. Remember your oath. We did not take an oath to a president. We did not take an oath to a political party. We took an oath to the Constitution of the United States to defend this country against all enemies, foreign and domestic. And if any of my brothers were here today, they would be sickened by what this country is being asked to accept. To every active duty service member, stand up. Remember your oath. To every veteran across this nation, our oath does not die with retirement. We have a duty to uphold it at all costs. And to every military commander, I want you to remember Nuremberg. I was just following orders isn't a defense for war crimes. And to you, Mr. President, we don't defend America by hunting Americans. We defend America by protecting American citizens, even when it comes to protecting them from our own president. We're not going to drop bombs on nonprofits because you don't agree with them. We aren't going to treat American citizens like military targets just because you don't like what they say about you. And we're not going to let anyone steal the freedoms that our brothers and sisters bled and died for on the battlefield. Not even you, Mr. President. Sappers clear the way, airborne all the way.
Now, all of that came from the initial part of his statement saying that a general had testified that if an order came down from the president to shoot at American citizens, he would follow that. That is in direct violation of the Constitution. That's why this general was saying, I think he was a general, commander, was saying, remember your oath. And we were told repeatedly, remember your oath. Now, having said that, we were also told that if you get, something that is very clear against the Constitution, you don't obey that. And I think that's what this guy was saying, basically. We have other ways of dealing with people that are I'm trying to figure out how to say it without getting nailed with the algorithms. I'm not against ICE. I think anybody who knows me knows I'm for these people. I want them out. They're claiming 20 million. And I said at the beginning of the broadcast, we're lied to about everything. I don't give a damn what it is. You've been lied to about it. I don't care what it is. You have not gotten 100% truth. Nothing. People get mad at me because I say, well, there's stuff missing out of the Bible. Remember that. Oh, you should never question the Bible. Why? One of the whole reasons of the Bible is so that you learn. How do you learn? You learn by questioning. Hello? So no, we're constantly being lied to. But they say it was 20 million. Okay. So I'm for that. I said earlier, that they'll do something, the administration will do something that we like, that we want, and it makes us feel good. So I want these people out. Yes, it makes me feel good that you're working on getting those people out because they have caused harm to innocent Americans. They should have never been here to begin with. I'm for that. What I'm not for is if you threaten to bring in the military, which I know he's brought in the National Guard. That's a little different. That's kind of borderline, but it's a little different. The military, the ones that are to serve the country in defense outside the border, outside the contiguous United States, bring them in with their equipment. That is not acceptable. And it concerns me that he may even have that idea. They're saying 20 million people came across the border in the last, now it's been 5 years, going on 6. I have a friend of mine who, when all of this was going down, they said, because like me, they said, how can you believe anything you hear? I'm going to go check that out for myself. They did. They went down there for themselves. Took a video, sent me back a copy of the video. It was about maybe a 4 or 5 minute video. It wasn't very long. In that 4 or 5 minutes of watching the video, I'd say 80%, easily 80% of what was coming across the border was young men. Somewhere 18, 32, 35, 36, somewhere in there. I saw very, very few families, and I saw very few women. So the majority of what was coming across is some type of an army. There's no question in my mind. So I'm glad that you're getting these people out. Thank you. That's one of the things that I voted for, and I'm sure that the majority of America wants as well. So thank you. But I don't know how welcoming they're going to be with us sticking our nose into Gaza and making Gaza a paradise and whatever we're going to do with the people. Take care of us. We have veterans who are on the street, my friend. We have citizens who are on the street. Some of them by no fault of their own. A lot. I don't know how many, but in my estimate, maybe many, maybe all, not all of them. That would be wrong. The majority of them, maybe the majority of them, due to one thing or another, and they're out on the street. And there's no assistance for these people, but we're willing to give billions of dollars to a country that we know is corrupt. It doesn't make sense. You can't tell me that it's raining while you're pissing on me. It doesn't work. So yeah, I'm happy on one side and I'm disgusted on the other. Don't like the idea that just because somebody is powerful, oh, well, I can't do anything about them because they're my friends. Code 4, they give me lots of money, or they have a lot of power and they're willing to share that power with me, or something in a mixture of all of that. I don't know. I don't really give a flip. Excuse me. All I know is that these are evil people, if they're people at all, and they don't belong, damn sure don't belong free. My opinion is they don't belong in prison either. They belong being taken care of. Like people used to do it in the old days. I don't have a picture of it. Yeah, a little rope, some wood, some nails. I wonder how many people realize that in the NDAA of 2016 maybe. During that time, during the Obama time, the government purchased human guillotines. I guess you just call them guillotines. They purchased guillotines. I read several articles, and I am convinced that the articles were legit. 32,000. Because in the NDAA, the National Defense Authorization Act, in 2016, I think it was, hidden way in the back. When they pass something, they can't make it 1 or 2 pages. Oh, hell no. We're going to make it so freaking deep that you'd have to spend a lifetime going through it to try to figure out what everything is included. Well, what buried way in the back is when they get ready to get rid of people who they feel are domestic terrorists. This is the scary part. They label you a domestic terrorist under this NDAA. I don't know if it's still active or not, that particular part of it. But their preferred method of execution was beheading. That's in the document. So we already have the equipment that we need for the pedos and the cannibals. Don't really need to do anything. Just investigate. And if they're found beyond a reasonable doubt, beyond a shadow of a doubt, I think is what they refer to, then let's take care of business. I don't want to have to stick them in prison and pay for that for the rest of their lives. It's not bad enough that they've hurt enough people doing what they're doing. Now you just want to stick them in prison. Let's just continue to hurt people by the taxes that we pay have to go to take care of them. Now. And the idea that so many people have told me, Riscalla, you don't understand. We're playing 5D chess. They're doing this and they're doing that and they're doing the other. And one of the things that gets spit in my face constantly is, well, they were executed. Biden was executed. What good did it do? We still had some idiot pretending he was Biden, right? Did probably more damage than Biden himself, right? Or at least the same. Auto-pen this, auto-pen that. So what good does it do? Oh, well, the people wouldn't be able to, they wouldn't be able to, they can't stand the truth. I think that's what. Tell us the truth. I think that we deserve the truth. And those who break down because they found out that Biden was executed and some guy wearing a mask took his place for the last 4 years of the Biden administration, they can't handle that. That's their problem. There's no getting away from the truth. You can mask it all you want for as long as possible, but eventually it's going to come back out. So we know that whoever it was, they're not even going after the person who played Biden. And you hear President Trump constantly saying, what is this? I'll think of it in a minute. Central casting, central casting. How many times have you heard him say that? Central casting. People are playing in an act mode, and they're playing with our lives. And I can only pray that whatever's happened in Iran, I know the people, I shouldn't say I know, I believe that the people in Iran want a regime change. Okay, fine, and they were pretty much had their lives stripped, okay? Just like in Iraq, all right? This is my concern. Before we meddled in Iraq, those people lived I want to say normal, but relative, in comparison to what they're living now, they were living in land in paradise, for God's sake. Prior to us getting into Iraq, those people were living a somewhat normal life. They could go to the store, they could go to the market, they could do things that you and I do in a general basis without too much threat, unless you said something bad about Hussein or something, about the government. Other than that, you're pretty much, left alone. You'd have to stand out somehow for them to come after you, generally speaking. Then we moved in, and what happened? So from that point forward, those people have never had a normal life. My gosh. It has been a living hell for them. That's what I'm concerned what's going to happen now in Iraq. Excuse me, in Iran. So we're going to create a vacuum, because that's what happened in Iraq. We created a vacuum, and all the, quote, terrorists moved in because they wanted to take over. I don't know how many people remember they took over the oil fields for a while, burning the oil. So we've gone into Iran. Now we've killed the supreme leader. Are we going to walk away and leave a vacuum and then, let the chips fall where they may? Or are we going to orchestrate another takeover by a puppet that our government's going to put in? And that person may be kinder to the people, maybe more open to a Western type of society than Khomeini was. Khomeini, you're a woman, you show anything more than your eyes, you're dead. It's like I said earlier, at one time, Iran was, they were in bikinis, you guys. Can you imagine a woman walking around in a bikini today in Iran prior to all this stuff happening? They'd behead her on the spot. See you, bye. But that's how it was. They were very Western. They loved America. They loved the American dream, so to say, the idea of America. And then something happened between the Shah that the CIA installed. Something happened between him and America they didn't like. Well, guess what? He's gone. But they left that vacuum. And they allowed this monster to move in. And now we're having to deal with that. Where did this guy get a lot of his money from? Anybody remember how much money the Obama administration sent this man? It was $7 billion, I think. It was in the billions, if I'm not mistaken. Billions of dollars. All to be used against us. And then a short time ago, we bombed the guy and said, hey, listen, America, this is your government talking now. Listen, put your ears up. We bombed Iran and we got rid of their nuclear. They don't have nuclear capacity anymore. See you, bye. Here it is a short time later. Was it a month, a couple of months? We got to go back. We can't let them have nuclear power, and we'll top the cake with some more icing by saying the people want a regime change. So they're not allowed to have nuclear power, and the people want a regime change, and that's what we're going to do. Oh, you mean drain the swamp? We'll get to that later. When? It's been over a year. It's been over a year when people openly committed treason against our country. They openly committed treason against the very people by fabricating what they did during the last election. And not a single person, not a big fish, not a single one. I'm sure they found some of the little guys here and there, the low-hanging fruit. Okay, I don't care about them. They couldn't have done it without the ability and the authority of somebody further up the ladder. Those are the ones I want. Because without them, they're like the snake, the head of the snake. Why aren't we going after them? Went after Comey. What a joke. What an embarrassing joke. With all the evidence that we had against this guy, he walked free. Oh, well, you don't understand, Riscalla. We prosecuted him in a district that had a friendly judge. What the hell did you do it there for? You know? We deserve better, folks. We deserve better. And if we can't, I don't care if you're a Republican, a Democrat, a Libertarian, I don't care. If you don't care about children, if you don't care that there are people who are walking around right now that are continuing in these acts that are unspeakable, they're so horrible you don't even want to say them, and that they are known who they are and that they are walking free, and there are people who have been in what's the word I'm looking for, have the responsibility to see to it that this kind of a individual is not walking free in the streets. They represent a direct threat to the public, and yet they do nothing. There's something wrong with that. My blood is boiling. You know, okay, you went to Iran, you killed the supreme leader in Iran, but what about the people who are doing this evil stuff here, right here? Right here. Is this a distraction? Because we were told to, we've had enough, we've heard enough about the Epstein files. It's time to move on. No, hell no. No, F you, hell no. No, I'm not going to move on. Anybody who knows me knows that children are one of my main priorities in life. If you don't have a couple of cells firing up in your head, you don't know that children are our future. You need to take care of them. I'll just spit the words out. My life has been all about kids. So when I hear about some of these things, these horrific things, I'm telling you, one of the things I was reading last week, I broke down. I couldn't take it anymore. How anybody could live with themselves. That's what I'm saying. These aren't people. They can't be human beings. This is some kind of an alien race that looks like us or something, but it's not a human being. A human being has some compassion. They wouldn't do that to a child. They were impregnating 11-year-old girls, taking the baby, sacrificing that baby, draining the blood, doing horrific things before they sacrificed the baby. You heard that lady in the poem that they were writing? They would remove the teeth. And they would play the mother's voice. So the baby would suck harder. But we're going to go halfway around the world and we're going to go get somebody who didn't do anything to any of our kids here. But the people who did this stuff to our kids are still here. They're still free. They're still walking around and still doing what they're doing. Because it would hurt my friends. There's a saying that says, birds of a feather flock together. Eagles roar with eagles, and pigeons roar. I don't remember the rest of it. You get my message. How can you call these people your friends? I don't care how much money they got. Maybe that's my problem. I don't care about it. There's not enough money. I don't care how much money you would offer. There's not enough. There's no price that could get me to do what I read in those files. So I'm telling you, they can't be people. They can't be human beings. Human beings don't do that to each other. And the part that really burns me is that they're walking around free. There are people in law enforcement who know who these people are, and they're still walking around free. They're still going to kidnap kids. They're still raising children so that they can do what they do. They're still raping women. They're still abusing young boys and young girls. What do you do? What do you say? We bombed Iran, I believe, because Israel wanted us to bomb Iran. I presented you with testimony from people who were on the USS Liberty. Very fortunate they got out. Who told the story of what happened. Attacked by Israel on purpose. It wasn't a mistake. There was no mistake. It was on purpose. The jets couldn't sink it, so they sent in the Navy. And when they got back, they were forced to sign NDAs or go to prison. And you heard that one commander said, when I got back, President Johnson said he didn't give a damn about the soldier. He wasn't going to embarrass his ally. They didn't even know it was Israel at the time. So it was a planned false flag. They wanted to sink the ship and then blame it on Egypt so we could get involved in Israel's war. Another one. So whatever occurs now in Iran, I know that people are, from what I've read, overwhelmingly want this man gone, Khomeini, which now they're saying he's gone. But what happens next? Will they be able to go back to what they once were? Or are they going to get somebody else to come in, sneak in, and before you know it, they're in power? And how long is this war going to go on? One of the people who constantly writes about Trump, I saw on Twitter, he says that people mistakenly think that Trump is going to start a war. These are precision surgical attacks. Get in and get out. I don't hear anything about Venezuela. I don't know what's happened in Venezuela. Are things any better now that this guy's gone? He claims, Trump claims, the administration claims that the reason that they went after this guy is because he was a narco-terrorist. He was providing all kinds of narcotics. And they were flowing into our country and killing our people. That was the reason. Well, there was a guy that he pardoned, that Trump pardoned, who was found guilty of, I can't remember, tons of cocaine coming in the country. Why did he do anything about that? The reason, I think, is, so this guy Maduro was bringing all of these drugs and stuff, but that wasn't really, the underlying reason was, I believe, again, between Venezuela and Iran, they were the ones mucking up the election. And this is payback. This is payback time. Which I don't hold that against him. What I hold against him is that take care of us first. Can we take care? We were talking about making America great again. Whatever's going on right now, I don't see how that's making America great again. I can somewhat get with it if Maduro, getting the Maduro thing. Okay, so, but did it stop? Or did the drugs stop? Because I don't hear anything. How do we know that the drugs, just because now we've got Maduro, how do we know that? I mean, that was the reason we got him. We went for him, right? So I think, if I'm not mistaken, the drugs are still flowing. But the reason we got, the underlying reason was they were meddling. They were involved in the 2020 massacre that happened, along with Iran. And if I'm not mistaken, I'm almost certain it was Italy, that there was one of the, whatever they have with their prime ministers or whatever, had to resign. So Take care of us. I mean, this is my complaint. Take care of us. Okay, you've done some great stuff, but take care. It's like almost like having the carrot hanging in front of you. You just can't get to it quick enough. No matter how hard you run, it's just hanging in front of you. The price of groceries. I went to the store the other day. It cost me $100 for me. For me, I'm just me by myself. $130 for 9 days of just a little over a week. 9 days of food. $130. I had 3 bags. 3 bags. 3 grocery bags, $130. But I'm hearing on the State of the Union address that everything's great. This is the golden age. Everything's getting better. Inflation is down. Blah 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 blah. What? You're pissing on me, but you're telling me it's raining. I don't like it. Tell the truth. Things are not getting better with regard to the economy. We have reached such a low point in this country. The housing market is in trouble. The banking finance market is in trouble. I think that's, they want to get rid of banks the way that we understand. They want to introduce digital currency. Please, guys, do not allow this digital currency to happen. What I mentioned earlier about the real ID, that's another thing. We should never have to have a real ID. The real ID is supposedly proof that you're a citizen. Why should I have to prove if I'm a citizen to anybody? Unless I've done something wrong that requires me to show that. But why would I have to do that? They want to be able to track us. The real ID has tracking built into it, so they can track you wherever you're going. Why? There is such an intrusion into our privacy that it concerns me that people are not more aware of just how much your privacy you've given up. There was a time when they wouldn't even dare to ask you your phone number. My gosh. So now they ask you. So what was the other day? I was looking at, I can't remember. I was looking for something the other day, and you get a free, what the hell was it I was looking for? Anyway, you get a free estimate. I can't remember what it was. This is one of the wonderful things about being my age is you forget stuff real easy. So when you go watch a movie you've seen 10 times, it's like watching it first time over again. Anyway, I wanted an estimate. God, it's bothering me. I can't remember what it was. Free estimate. So I had to give them my name, my address. I didn't go through with it. This is what they wanted. My name, my first name, my last name, my address, my zip code, and my phone number. And they wanted my mobile phone number so that they could text me. No, thank you. See you, bye. But there are people who are willing to give that information up. Now, what happens is that information, there was a time when oil was called the black gold, okay? Data is the new black gold. That data is worth billions of dollars. It's sold over and over and over again. You called in to get an estimate on something. Hey, this guy's interested. God, why can't I remember what the hell it was? This guy's interested in whatever the heck it was. And this fucking snot out of me. And so now we know that he's in this, he's in the market for this, right? If God forbid that you're online and you do an inquiry online, from that point forward, let's say what was that? I looked for a battery charger. I wanted a new battery charger. That was one of the things. And a freezer. We were going to get a freezer. All of a sudden, I'm on my Facebook feeds, all about battery chargers and freezers. I go online to Google, I'm going to do something else, battery chargers and freezers. It's like you're gone. Your privacy's gone. There was a time when that didn't occur. You go on YouTube now, before you even get to watch it, unless you're a Premier member, before you even get to watch anything, you have to watch a couple of, sometimes 3 commercials. It didn't used to be like that. It's all become so commercialized. And then of course you have the censorship. YouTube has taken the last count, I think it was 24 or 28 of my down to nothing. And the majority of them was something either about the thing that went in your arm, because if I say that, it catches on the algorithms and I get in trouble. But you know what I'm talking about, the thing that went, or it was about cancer. That I can say now because so much is coming out. So many protocols are coming out, and there was something else too. I don't recall. It was something else, and if those subjects came up, whoa, it was like, wow, man. It's like what happened earlier, and that file is gone. The file is just gone. That's freaked me out. I don't know. I don't know. I want to give them the credit that they deserve for the job that they've done that they said they would do. But is it wrong for me to say, listen, you said make America great again? How is Gaza? How is attacking Iran helping us now? When Iran was just a mouthpiece. Oh, death to America, death to Israel. Okay, it's like I read to you earlier. Well, they were threatening us with annihilation. Are you going to tell us that, or tell me that our defense system could not tell the very instant, the very eye blink of time, that they were to launch a missile or something and we couldn't stop it? Come on. So they weren't a direct threat to us. They were a threat to Israel. And Israel said, hey, you know what, America. Come on, we're going to go take care of them. And then we have the validation, the justification of, well, the people want a regime change. America wants a regime change, President Trump, with all due respect. That's one of the main things that I voted for. We want a regime change. You said drain the swamp. I don't see it being drained, my friend. I just see it's the same stuff on a different day. I see that there's people who say there is, what was the word he used? Unequivocal, I think it was unequivocal evidence that this particular example, the Biden family received millions of dollars from the Communist Party in China while he was, quote, in office, which is a no-no. But yet they come after you for having papers at Mar-a-Lago that you're allowed to have. It doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense. And it really upsets me. And I believe there's others who are quite upset, particularly when it comes to the kids. There's just no justification to cover up for the kids. And if you have the stomach to go read some of those files, I will warn you now, don't be surprised if you get physically sick. And that's why I'm not going to move on. Not sorry. I'm not moving on. I want as much pressure on this administration as we can get to find out who it is that was doing this stuff. And if they don't want to prosecute them, then we get the names out to everybody in the United States so that the streets are no longer safe for them. And we know where their money comes from, and we don't spend it there. But to hell with covering it up and allowing it to continue. Somebody told me this morning, I think it was, well, now that it's all out in the open, it's all going to come to a stop. Have you lost your mind? Whatever you're smoking or drinking, give me some. It's going to go away. Right. This has been going on hundreds, maybe even thousands, probably thousands of years. It's just coming to light more and more. On Thursdays, I do a show with Peter Kling. Actually, I produced a show. It's really Peter's show. He's a Bible scholar. And he talks about this god called Molech, or Baal, B-A-A-L, Baal. I think they're one and the same. Did you know that Iran made a effigy of this thing and then burned it? The bottom of the effigy was the Star of David and the American flag. Because they know we have this evil here. They want to be like Americans with the ability to have the freedom of the Americans, but they also know there are some very sick people here, and in Israel as well. The child thing doesn't just stop in the United States. Israel is that's all over the world, but the United States is the leader. Hundreds of thousands of children a year, hundreds of thousands of children a year gone. Over the last 4 years, it was 350,000 that came over the border. That's not including the kidnaps and God knows what else is going on. That's just what came over the border. 350,000. They find them in places where they're not supposed to be, doing heavy labor, running machinery. Our government is allowing that. Why aren't we outing these people? So yeah, I give credit where credit is due. They've done a good job here. They've done a good job there, but they're failing miserably in other places, which are even more important, in my opinion. And those other places include children, innocent children. We need to stop this trafficking. We don't need to just expose it. Exposing it is okay, that's great, but you need to stop it. It's unthinkable that people would do what is in these files. It's sickening. It is physically sickening. But we're going to go, I know it's redundant. We're going to go from one end, we're going to go to the other end, we're going to take care of this guy, we're going to take care of that guy, but forget these people. Forget the people that would it would hurt your friends. That doesn't sit well with me. That doesn't mean that you get to walk because you've done good stuff here and you've done good stuff there. That doesn't mean you get to walk on this. And I really think and believe, and I hope I pray, and I pray I'm right, that the majority of the people in America, we're not walking away from this. We're going to keep pushing. I hope and pray I'm right. And if no other reason to keep pushing, to know that this has not stopped. This continues to go on. There was a man named Weiner. I can't remember his first name. I think it was Anthony, but I may be wrong. Anyway, he was a senator or a congressman. So he's in the government somewhere. He was found guilty of sending pornographic stuff to kids, young underage girls. They confiscated his laptop. On his laptop, there was a folder called insurance, if I remember correctly. I'm going by memory. My memory's like... But if I remember right, it was it's called insurance or something like that. Inside of this folder on his laptop that said insurance were videos. One of the videos was so disturbing that the story went, seasoned detectives saw this video and became physically sick and threw up because of the violence that was in this video. They described that it was a video of Hillary Clinton and Huma Abedin skinning a young girl's face while she is alive off of her and then placing it upon their face. And I don't remember how many of the detectives, it was 11 or 12 or whatever. All of them but one is still alive. I don't know if it's because of what they saw. They couldn't bear anymore. They couldn't come to terms with it. How can there be people that do things that are just so horrific? So we have the evidence hard evidence, that Hillary Clinton is guilty of murder. Why is she walking free? Oh, well, they executed. Give me that crap. Put it where the sun don't shine, because that's not cut it with me. I don't care. Let's say that you're all right. Why would they allow someone else to continue doing what this individual did to begin with? Oh, because the people couldn't stand the truth. Too freaking bad. So no, I don't want to hear that crap. Oh, they were executed. Okay. A lot of good it did. I mean, in my book, I don't know, maybe it's silly of me to think Here we have Joe Smith. And Joe Smith is guilty of horrendous things, just murder and just decapitation and all kinds of ugly things. But because Joe happens to be very popular and people really don't know about all the ugly things he's done, we don't want to do anything to him. And he's also got a lot of money. So we just kind of leave him alone. How does that make you any different than that individual? How does that make you any different than the person physically doing what they're doing to harm people? If you're not going after them because you know who they are. You have hard evidence that Hillary Clinton should not be walking free. You got the emails, you got the uranium, there's a couple of other things that she's done. It's all put it all aside. You've got evidence, you've got video evidence. Murder, first-degree murder. Nope, still walking around free. Oh, well, Congress is going to call her in. We're going to rake her over the coals. I'm sick of it. I'm just so sick of it. I'm sick of looking and seeing and witnessing the corruption and knowing that there are people who are responsible to stop it are not stopping it. We're supposed to be, I remember President Trump saying, this is the golden age. We're moving into the golden age. To me, in my mind, my simple mind, I'm thinking golden age means things are really we're really going to see some changes for good. And then we have the surface changes. We're going to bring the price of drugs down. Great, thank you. God bless you. Appreciate it. But you're not allowed to sue Bayer or Monsanto for their glyphosate. We're still going to allow the glyphosate. We're going to take red 40 and yellow 30 and whatever the other crap is. We're going to take that out, but we're going to still allow the glyphosate. It doesn't make sense. Make it make sense. I'm going to offer you a cake, the best cake you've ever tasted in your life. I just want you to know, we put a teaspoon of poop in there. Just a little bit. Make it make sense, please. It doesn't make sense to me. And you know, for me, I'm in the sunset of my life. So my generation, the generation before me, taught my generation that one of our responsibilities is to do the best that we can to leave a place better for our children and our grandchildren than it was for us. And I don't see that happening. I don't see it happening. I see my children and my grandchildren suffering. I've seen their ability to earn stolen from them. If you could imagine, however much money you make, if you make it per hour or however you figure it out, if you're on salary, you figure it out per hour. Imagine whatever that number is times at least 30, because that's what it was supposed to be at this point. This is how they have stolen from us and made it so difficult for families. They don't want families. They want broken families. They pay to have broken families. Instead of helping families that are having a difficult time financially, they will pay. Once the family's broken up, they will pay to keep the family broken up. One of the analogies that I've given many times is one of the chores I had as growing up was to cut the yard. We had a very small yard, didn't take a whole one. I think it took maybe 2 hours max between the cutting and the raking. And Dad would give me $1 silver. I loved silver dollars. They were the largest of the coins that we had back in those days. And they were silver. Well, I had this particular weekend, I had cut the yard. Dad came home. He said, I'm sorry, I forgot to go by the bank. The bank was closed on Saturday, and here's 2 paper dollars. I don't want the paper dollars. I want a silver dollar. After school on Monday, we had a branch down the street, not very far from us. Go to the branch, give the lady the 2 paper dollars, and she'll give you 2 silver dollars. Those silver dollars today are worth at least $30. At least. At the bare minimum, $30 melt value, meaning that you could take that dollar and melt it down and you get $30 of our dollars today for that. That's how they've stolen money from us. Whatever you're making, figure it out per hour times 30 minimum. And then you can understand how in those days when families decided that one would stay home and take care of the home, that was their responsibility, that was their part of the marriage, and the other would work outside the home and make enough money without having to work their butt off, make enough money to have a nice home, take a nice vacation every year, have a car, put your children through school. Teachers weren't asking for help outs. It was nothing like it is today. Nothing. And it's all done in little bites here, little bites there. That's what I said earlier about your privacy. It's gone. Privacy's gone. This is the ability of them to perform surveillance over the citizens, which they have no right to do. But they will sell you. The marketing plan is, we're going to keep you safe. Excuse me, my body wants to hiccup while I'm talking. It's not. Maybe that'll help. Yeah, it's for your safety. We're going to make America safe again. And not that they're not doing that, because in one dimension, yeah, that's happening. But in the process of doing that, we're going to just obliterate your rights to privacy. That's not adding up. That's not making America great again. Giving money to Ukraine, giving money to I don't know how many other places. And the big, beautiful bill, there's all kinds of garbage in the big, beautiful bill. And all the money that was found that was being wasted, has any of that stopped? That's what I'm saying. It's just like, it's like being kicked in the stomach. You're going along and seemingly things are good, and then this comes along. They release the files, but we won't release the names of the co-conspirators, but we release the names of the victims. And then anybody who speaks up against that agenda of not releasing them is considered a traitor. See, Tom Massey, I thought he was a good guy. All of a sudden, Tom Massey's a traitor. He's no good. Trump is just tearing him down. Same thing with Marjorie Taylor Greene. She's Marjorie Traitor Greene now. It's because a lot of it is because they didn't kiss his butt, really, is what it boils down to. Their nose wasn't stuck in his crack. And because of that, now he's, coming down on them. That's not how it's supposed to work. And I'm glad that they wanted to release the files when they did. I'm glad that they speak up the way that they do, because that's what we need. We're supposed to be transparent. How can you tell me that you're being transparent when you won't totally release the information that you promised to people that you would release? And then it's found out, according to Marjorie Taylor Greene, and I don't see why she would lie. According to her, you didn't want it to come out because it's going to hurt your friends. That really disturbed me. That really, you had 71 million people this last go around vote for you because I believed, I won't speak for anybody else, I believed that what you were going to do is go after the criminals that we call our government. I believed you are going to make it better for us financially. It may not be a big leap in a short period of time, but eventually we would see some improvement. I haven't seen any of that. I see that we're getting ourselves involved in the things that I don't know how that's helping us. I don't see how it's helping us. I could see how it might be helping you as a land developer if you're going to take over Gaza, which he was in front of Netanyahu on the stage one day, and he said something to the effect, "Yeah, we're going to take care of it." And Netanyahu's eyes just like golf balls. What do you mean you're going to take care of it? What does that mean? So maybe he's going to develop it and make some money. I don't know. I don't care about that. Well, I do care in the sense that you're not taking care of us. I do care about it. But if you've got some way of making money on that on the side, God bless you. Go do it. I don't like it. I don't want to have anything to do with it. But there's stuff that goes on that I don't know why it goes on. They have a lot more, far more information available to them than I do. But on the surface, I don't want to have anything to do with it. I would rather you take that energy and whatever investment that's going into the Gaza thing and give it back to us. There was a thing going around a while back where, everybody's going to get some kind of a check. I don't remember the particular name they used for it, but we were all supposed to get like $2,000, right? Did you see it? I didn't see it. Somebody stole it from the mailbox. But that's my point, is that there's things that should have happened that have not happened. And there's things that I think could have waited but have happened. Again, the amount of information I have is probably the equivalent of a coffee cup in a 5-gallon or in the ocean. I got a little bit, but not enough. So there may be reasons why, but on the surface, it doesn't sit well with me. And I know I'm not the only one. I've seen too many videos of different people saying basically what I'm saying. Why are we allowing these people who have done these horrific things to continue to walk free? There's no reason, justifiable reason. There's one guy who was trying to defend these people by saying, we've all made mistakes in our younger years and we've come through that and we've straightened our line. Yeah, I don't care. There's no coming through that. There's no moving on from that. I was young at one time, believe it or not. I know my grandkids don't believe it. And I did stupid, nothing like that. Nothing even imaginary like that. I did things that I'm surprised I'm still alive. When I had my dirt bike, we did some crazy things. But nothing like that. Yeah, we worked our way through it and we've straightened our lives out. But that's not straightening your life out. That's not something that you move on from. You bred babies so that you could kill them, cook them, and eat them. Sorry, not sorry. No mercy. And I cannot see, and I absolutely do not support, trying to protect these people in any way, shape, or form. I don't care how powerful they are. I want, I don't know if this comes from the Bible or not. I want there to come a time, if these people are not addressed, I'm trying to pick my words carefully because of stupid algorithms will pick something out. And if these people are not addressed properly through the procedures that we have in place already, legally, I want it so that they don't feel comfortable walking the streets. I think you get my message. So in order to be able to do that, we need names. We need to know who they are. So we can figure out, because I think many of them are very, very wealthy people. So they're involved in businesses of various kinds. Find out what their businesses are, and we no longer do business with them. Once you understand that the people, truly, when you hear the people have the power, that is the most true of statements one can make. However, the people only have the power when several things come into play. One, the knowledge that is needed to make the decisions that would help us. Two, that they unite and come together and say no more. Three, when they finally stand up and can't think of the right word to use, protest. I will use that word. When they finally stand up and protest against this thing that we call a government, that is truly, it's not a government anymore. What we have is a mafia-style syndicate. It's just criminals. One criminal protecting the other criminal, protecting the other criminal. Don't you dare say anything about this. I got this on you. It's just, we need to clean house. We wanted what you're doing in Iran for the people, according to what you're saying, Mr. Trump. The people, 80% or more, wanted a regime change. Hello? Drain the swamp? Knock, knock. Anybody home? I don't see a single positive performance towards that end goal. I see just standing by, which to me is the same thing as doing what they're doing. There's something that I learned a long time ago, and I don't know if it's biblical or spiritual or whatever, but it really rang true to my heart. And that was, if you are someone who's in a position that knows something, you have knowledge of something that can help somebody else, maybe even protect somebody else, and you say nothing, and as a result of that, the information that you withheld harms this other person in some way, shape, or form, you are part of the problem. You are guilty and share a portion of the guilt in the harm to that individual. I believe that 100%. That's why I do what I do. I don't make any money doing this. I don't ask people for, you watch any of my shows, I don't think you'll ever hear me ask anybody for any money, because it's not about money for me. It actually costs money. It costs me money to do this. So I'm not in it for money. I don't want somebody to say, oh, well, he's just in it for the money. Flush it, baby. It ain't about the money for me. I told you earlier, it's about my children and my grandchildren. What we're leaving for them. It scares me. It really scares me. Because they're going to have to put up with crap that they should have never had to put up with, ever. So I'm going to do whatever I can do to reduce that in whatever way I can. I don't know if we'll ever be able to stop it at this point. I really don't. But I'll be damned if I sit silently and watch and know that people are doing some horrendous, unspeakable things to people, to babies, to young women and young boys and women, raping women and harming them. I won't stay silent. I'm not going to move on. I'm looking now online. I found several different petitions. Got my name on there. We can't do it one way, we'll do it another. I have heard representatives say they're going to read the names. From what I understand, I'm not sure if this is accurate, but I think it is. They can say whatever they want on the floor while they're saying whatever they want. It can be a lie, doesn't matter. Or it can be the truth, but they can't be prosecuted for it. So there's Nancy Mace, Tim Burchett, I think is his name, Massey, Tom Massey, Tim Massey, and somebody else. They're going to read the names of the redacted names. They're going to read them on the floor. And then they can't be sued because they have been read out loud into public. It goes into public record. Those names, you talk about going viral. Those names need to go viral. We need to know who these people are. We need to know how they're associated with. I'm sure they're associated with some kind of business. What business is it? And let's respond to them by doing the greatest harm to them that we can do. And that would be, if they have a business, let's break that business down. That's what they would do to you and me. Instead of physically killing us, which they have done, but they have the option. They have the ability to shut us down financially. Well, we can do it to them. We can do the same thing. If we find that they make a particular product of some sort and that's how they're making their money, we tell all of our friends, listen, don't buy this product anymore. These people are involved in cannibalism, in human trafficking, and all this other stuff. Don't help support them by buying this product anymore. Stop buying that product. I'm sure that there is another product available. So if we can't rely on our government, let's rely on each other. Once we have those names, let's make it go viral. Everybody should know who those names are, and if they have a business, how to go about finding out what that business does, what it sells, whatever. And if it's a consumer product, then us as a consumer, we can shut them down. But I can't just stay silent. I can't just walk away from this thing. I can't move on, Mr. President. With all due respect, and thank you for all the good that you have done. But I can't move on from this. This is something the hill I will die on, if you want to put it that way. I can't move on from this. I can't move on knowing that there are people doing what they have done and nothing has happened to them. Not only that, but that it's continuing to go on. There's no justification to protect these people. And I know that from learning about what happened in Venezuela and what happened in Iran, you have the ability to track these people down. You know exactly where they are, when they are there. So it would be not any issue at all to round them up and bring them to justice. I can't remain silent. I will not remain silent. And I hope and pray that the majority of the people feel the way that I feel. We will not remain silent. We will not move on. This needs to be addressed. I would, in my opinion, this is a high priority, if not number one, number two, but right up there. High priority. We have to stop this. Otherwise, we rest in a certain degree of guilt. If we don't do something to help stop it, that carries that guilt on. I don't want any part of that. I don't want to know that I could have done something, I could have said something. No, not going to happen. And I'm hoping and praying the other people feel the same. That we will continue to speak out for the children. We will continue to speak out for the young ladies and the young boys and the women, the grown women who are forced to have children so that the children can be put into the trade, and babies as well. 11, 12 years old, impregnated, to have their child taken from them. And then in that video that I played for you, these people and billionaires having 100 children. I can see the mentality. After a certain degree, your family's a whole freaking city, my friend. You're all just one big family. 100 children. Wow. Wow. I think it just occurred to me, I think Elon Musk is up there. I don't know how many. He's got a dozen or so. Eight girlfriends or something like that. He's up there with them. 100 though. Now, but I see. I may be wrong, but I see the plan behind that. And at some point in time in the future, you're literally going to have a city, and it's going to be a family. The whole city will be just basically a family. And then, one big family, they do whatever you want. You're indoctrinating them. You're training them as they're younger to do whatever it is that you're going to need. They won't need us anymore. And then with this new discovery that they can make babies without female eggs. I told you at the beginning of this broadcast tonight, I said we're in trouble. We are in serious trouble. That research, whoever came up with that research, that should be banned. Why would you want to do such a thing? I mean, that goes against the very laws of God. We're not here to create God. We're not God in the sense that we can create artificial life. We don't, and I don't know. Maybe we do. I was going to say we don't have the ability to make life out of non-existent life, but now that I think about it, we do. They made that scary looking thing, whatever the hell that was that they made, this thing.
Scientists are now using lab-grown human flesh in order to advance AI.
Wow. We need prayers. We need prayers. You remember what I told you? They're going to have to tell you what they're going to do before they do it. And they're going to do it in a variety of ways. Movies, music, videos. Terminator. Another one that comes to mind, I think it was called I Am Robot. I think it was Will Smith. Where they're driving around in autonomous cars. I read an article earlier this week about the information coming out, how the CIA can hack into your vehicle. The vehicles that we have today, many of them, if not all of them at this point, are called drive-by-wire. What that means is you don't have a direct control over the steering. You don't have a direct control over the brakes. All of that is done through sensors and computers. If you can hack into that computer and somebody hits the brake, you can tell that computer not to accept that command. Autonomous cars in I Am Robot, he was driving down the road and the system realized that he was awakened to what was happening with the robots coming together and moving against humans. And he was making a move to tell everybody. They took over his car and tried to kill him. That can be done today. Teslas can be taken over. How do you think autonomous cars work? It's because they're working in conjunction with basically artificial intelligence. So it's more and more intrusion into our private life. Oh, it's nice for Riscalla to be able to drive down the road and I don't have to worry about, this, that, or the other. What are you giving up to get that? Because in order for you to be able to do that, you've given up some freedoms. And many of the freedoms that we've given up are just a little here, it's a little there. But now when I see it over a period of time, it's a more than a mouthful. And what really seems to jump out at me is 9/11. After 9/11, it was like a race to get this stuff done. The Patriot Act, the NDAA, and whoever they label as a domestic terrorist no longer has any rights. You have if they say, Riscalla, you are a domestic terrorist, all my rights go down the tubes. No lawyer. They can hold me however long they want. They don't have to tell anybody where I'm at. I may not be a domestic terrorist. To them, I may be because I don't go along with their game. But I'm not a domestic terrorist in the sense that I'm going to go out and I'm going to, hurt a bunch of people or something like that. But exposing the corruption, that makes me, what? An enemy. And people like I said earlier, fortunately for me, I don't have a lot of followers, so it's not a big, I'd say whatever I want. But if I were somebody like a Tucker Carlson and I showed you some of the stuff I showed you tonight, even Tucker, I'm now concerned about Tucker because Tucker's finally turning the corner and realizing a lot of the stuff that he was told was a lie. He's beginning to question 9/11. He's put some serious doubt into the ambassador to Israel. Who are you working for, pal? Are you working for Israel? Are you working for us? I thought it was us because we're the ones who pay the taxes, and the taxes are what pay your salary. So I thought you were working for us, but doesn't seem that way. And then get run through the mill afterwards by thugs, as he called them. We're American citizens. I can't tell you how many videos I've seen where American citizens, if you walk in the wrong place in Israel, they'll spit on you. They think that we are less than animals Christians, people who call themselves, people who are not Jews. So this idea that they're our friend is sadly mistaken. I think I've shown you tonight enough to know that, nah, I don't think so. And why this loyalty is, they must have something over us, something. And I wonder what's happened to Trump, because I tell you what, the Trump that I watched over the years, as he was literally raked over the coals, charged with garbage, put through hell, stood strong, somewhere along the line, doesn't seem like it's the same guy. I may be wrong. According to this article, he's precise, he's quick, he's not starting a war, he's doing a precision surgical strike. Going to be in, going to be out, going to be done. We'll see. I don't hear about Venezuela. Is Venezuela doing any better? I know the people were a lot happier that this guy was gone. I saw the partying in the streets, but are they doing any better? Because the whole system was falling apart because this guy was just ripping them off so bad. But they needed a regime change, so they got a regime change. Why? Why not us? What is it so? Why is it so difficult? You know, this morning, I don't remember where I saw it. There are people in other countries being arrested because of the Epstein list. I don't know how many people realize that. Being arrested, not investigated, being arrested. There are other people who had to step down from their positions because their name was referenced in the Epstein list among all this nastiness that I was telling you about earlier. But I don't see anybody being arrested here. I don't see anybody being investigated here. The evidence is there. What's to stop them? Because they're my friends? Man, that hurts. Man, that hurts. And what scares me, now that I think about it, in all the rallies I've ever watched and rallies I've been to in my younger years, you know, you get pretty worked up at some of these rallies, right? It's a pretty emotional kind of thing. In all the rallies I've ever been to and all the rallies I've ever watched, I have never, ever, ever seen a rally where the people begin to chant, "We love you." That scared me. That scares me. Not that maybe not that he doesn't deserve it, but that when people are that idolizing, I don't know if that maybe not the right word, but holding somebody to that degree in that position of authority, I think they're going to be disappointed. I hope that they would at least be questioning, why hasn't there been more focus on making our lives better by helping us strengthen our dollar instead of giving our money away? $38 trillion, 38, 39, who the hell knows? Who even knows that that's real? I don't even know if that's physically enough ever printed. You realize how much 1 trillion, just $1 trillion. If I wanted to give you $1 trillion at the rate of $1 per second per day, and neither one of us would ever sleep, $1 per second per day, 7 days a week, 52 weeks a year, $1 per second per day. It would take me 32,000 years. That's 1 trillion. 1 trillion seconds is 32,000 years. That's how much money we're talking. We're 38 of them. And what have we got to show for it? We got teachers begging parents that please help us provide for the children to have food for their lunches. $38 trillion, people. And then they tell us about all this waste that they found here and there and the other. I don't see anybody's life getting better. It's like I told you, $130, 3 bags of groceries. And it wasn't like I was buying super expensive stuff either. couple of frozen dinners. What did I buy? I don't even remember what I got for 130. Jeez. It's sad. It's sad when I think of how they have taken the money from us and put it in their pockets. And we're still, yo, let's go for this system. The system is not right, you guys. People praise the capitalistic system. It's not truly a capitalistic system. Let me, I'm almost out of time. Let me share this with you real quick. I got emotional earlier and my body's leaking. So I had a company for 27 years, and our company, what we did was we provided service for high-end printers, laser printers primarily, but high-end printers, things that they called plotters and things of that nature, very expensive printers. Along with that, we did local access networks, local networks, things of that nature, small stuff on computers. So what happened was, in the beginning, when I first started, the larger companies, the big names, the names that you would know right off the bat, they primarily stayed away from the accounts that we had. They didn't really want to deal with the little smaller guys, in comparison to them. What happened over the years is they kept stepping in. What happened at the very end was they literally blew me out of the water with one of the quotes that we were doing. We were fixing all the printers for one of the counties, and they had 142 printers. We were fixing all of them, and what they would do on this particular contract, they would pay for that up front. The payment was $20,000 is what we quoted. A major competitor came in, a major name, came in and bid it at $15,800, which totally blew us out of the water, made us look like criminals. They had deeper pockets than we did. They could lose the money and then eventually bring the price back up again. That's not capitalism. That's bullying. That's what that is. It's bullying. And it's happening right, left, and center. The amount of small businesses that have gone out, primarily, probably from the COVID, because COVID hit us really hard. And then when this happened, that was just like the last straw. Couldn't do it anymore. All right, I'm out of time. But that's not capitalism, my friends. That's literally financial bullying. That's one company having deeper pockets than the other, literally taking on a contract to lose the money in order to get the contract. And then when they have the contract, to gradually bring it back, because he could do that, gradually bring it back up again. But they would take that loss and use it to their advantage to get the contract. Anyway, time's up. Got to go. Thank you guys for listening to my rant and allowing me to share with you tonight. I'll be back next week. And hopefully, shortly, it's going to be March. I think we've still got a couple of weeks before I can get on Facebook. In the meantime, God bless you. Appreciate it. And share with your friends when you can. Remember, I'm not asking for money. I'm asking for I'm grateful that you're willing to listen and hoping that you will take whatever I tell you and prove it to yourself. Go research it for yourself and verify what I'm telling you. Don't believe me. Just listen. And that's good enough for me. God bless you. Talk to you soon.